Hi there, my name is Dr. Eileen McCabe-Moucher, and I am your professor this semester here at the University of Maryland, University College Health, Illness, and Healing course. I've created this short video to orient you to our syllabus, as well as to let you know that your success in our class is very important to me. So if you have any questions related to our coursework, please don't hesitate to reach out and email me. So here is our syllabus for our health, illness, and healing class here at UMUC. The very first thing that you'll see here is my faculty contact information. So as I stated earlier, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me via email. My email address is eileen.mccabe-moucher@faculty.umUC.edu. Then you'll see here listed on our syllabus the course description, course introduction, course outcomes, as well as course materials. I encourage you to read all of those sections carefully and let me know if you have any questions about anything that you find there. The next thing that we're going to review here is our class guidelines. So as it states here, you are definitely free to use the instant messenger feature within the Leo classroom to send me a message. However, please note that you will get a much more rapid response if you email me directly at the email address that I just gave to you instead of using the instant messenger tool in the classroom. I check my email several times every day, and I typically respond to emails within 24 to 48 hours, Monday through Friday. Major assignments are graded within 7 to 10 days after the due date. And as I said earlier, the most important thing that you remember is that I'm here to help you be successful in the class and that I have time each workday to assist you. So please feel free to reach out to me if you need help or you need clarification. I recommend that you watch this Leo classroom walkthrough video, especially if this is the very first class that you've ever taken here at UMUC. So understanding how to navigate the online classroom is naturally very important here in our online course. So as you know, our journey here together goes by very quickly. These 8-week courses are accelerated, they're rigorous. So for every 8-week course, you should expect to spend at least 6 hours per week participating in class discussions and activities, and then about 12 to 15 hours a week in study, doing your assigned readings, and preparing the written assignments outside of class. So you remember that active participation is required in all of our online courses, and I really hope that you're going to get engaged not only with our coursework but with each other on our online discussion board posts. So now let's switch our attention and focus on grading information. So this course consists of the following graded items. The first thing that you'll see here is our plagiarism tutorial, which is worth 2% of your final grade. The second item here is our discussion board posts, which are worth a total of 24% of your final grade. The third item that you'll see here in our table is the literature review, which is worth 20% of your final grade. The fourth item is the interview with a person who has experienced illness assignment, which is worth 24% of your final grade. And our last item here, certainly not least, is our final research project, which is worth a total of 30% of your final grade. So all of these items together total 100%. You'll see here our late policy, which states that all assignments must be submitted by the due date that's indicated on our class schedule. So just a gentle reminder that anything posted after 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time of the due date is considered late work. So in such cases, a late penalty of 10% per day for discussions and 10% per week for all other written assignments will be applied. Now that said, if you have a medical emergency, if you have an urgent situation arise as a result of your military service, I am more than happy to help you out and work with you within the policy of the University of Maryland here. So please make sure that you reach out to me as soon as possible if you think that you will be needing an extension of a couple of days. So those extensions again are granted only in cases of emergency and may require documentation. But please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you are in a situation where you're really requiring an emergency extension. So let's go over our project descriptions now. What you want to do is you want to carefully make sure that you're reading the rubric which I've submitted here for those discussion board posts and following all of the guidelines so that you can achieve the maximum points for each week discussion board posts. You want to make sure that you're responding to at least 2 of your colleagues each week for our discussion board posts so that you can get full credit unless it's otherwise noted in that individual week's posting. So you want to make sure that you're reading each discussion board prompt every week carefully and making sure that you're responding to all of the questions that I'm asking you. So for week 4, you are asked to interview a person who has experienced an illness. This is worth 24% of your total grade. And this project is intended to give you real-life field experience. So for this project, you are asked to interview a person who has experienced a serious illness. This illness can be acute or it can be chronic. Examples include, but are not limited to, cancer, multiple sclerosis, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, lupus, fibromyalgia, and congestive heart failure. So your questions should reflect the issues and concepts that we'll be discussing and reading about in class. Due to confidentiality, please do not share your interviewee's name or any identifying information about the person that you interview. This project is due during the middle of the semester on Sunday of week 4 by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's also really important that you do not interview yourself for this assignment. So it is required that you actually interview another person. And I appreciate that you yourself might have experienced chronic or acute illness. And while it would certainly be appropriate to write a few sentences about that, in your project, you absolutely must interview another person for this particular assignment. So this assignment requires the following. Number 1, a brief biological or biographical sketch, including whether your interviewee is living independently, living with relatives, or in a retirement home, in an assisted living facility, or a nursing home. How old is this person now? And how old were they when they experienced illness? And that is worth 20 points. And what or why are you most curious about this person? That section is worth 10 points. A list of preliminary questions is provided here below, though it's expected that you will add at least 5 more questions to your list as we cover objectives of the course. It's worth a total of 10 points. So here are the questions. Tell me about the psychological and emotional changes that have occurred as a result of your illness. How has your illness changed your social life? Describe the changes that have occurred. What are the 3 most important facts about illness and healing that everyone must know? How do you define health and healing? And finally, what you want to make sure that you're doing is you're discussing at least one theory or concept that we've learned about in class and explain how this theory relates to the individual. And you want to make sure that you're using at least 2 scholarly sources to support your theory. So this is worth 20 points. And you can also feel free to use journal articles that I've provided within our online classroom to support this paper. So those can certainly count as 2 of your scholarly sources that you're using. And this interview paper should be 6 to 8 pages in length, double-spaced, using a 12-point font. So that's not including tables or references. It is important that you use correct grammar, using effective topic sentences and transitions, and that your paper should be formatted in APA style. If you struggle with writing or have any questions in regard to writing your actual paper, you remember that the Writing Center is a fantastic source here at UMUC, and I encourage you to reach out to them if you need help with this paper or any of the other papers that you're writing here at UMUC. So the next major assignment that is due during week 6 of our class is the literature review. So for this project, each of you are going to be, number one, summarizing cross-cultural research findings in anthropology journal articles on health illness related issue to you. And then number two, you're going to describe how the journal articles contribute to a cross-cultural understanding of the topic, comparing and contrasting the article's findings as appropriate. So, for example, perhaps you or someone in your household has a cold. You would look for articles about colds or, more broadly, acute respiratory infections in different groups of people. So perhaps you or someone in your household is a vegetarian for health reasons. Then you would want to look for articles about veganism or, more broadly, eating or health from a cross-cultural perspective, that is, in different groups of people. So this does not only mean different ethnic groups. People in the same family with the same ethnic heritage may have many different culturally constructed ideas about eating and health. So I've listed here some effective UMUC library databases that you can use. So for this paper, you must include a minimum of 5 references from anthropological journals. So you can certainly include more than 5 references, and you may include references from journals that are not on the above list of anthropological journals. However, at least 5 of your references must be written from an anthropological perspective. So in this paper, you must identify the research questions the authors investigated in their study. So in other words, what did the authors want to know? You also should summarize the previous research the authors reviewed. You should detail the methods that the authors used to collect data, as well as summarize the results of their study and discuss the implications for the health-related illnesses that it addresses. You also want to list any limitations to the study that the author acknowledges, and then also list future studies suggested by the study and your own suggestions. So I have here carefully listed the point values for each of the areas here. You also want to remember that you'll be receiving 20 points for proper APA/AAA style, and that includes grammar, spelling, and quality of writing. So now we're going to shift our focus and talk about our final project, which is due in week 8 and is to be completed in 3 stages. So first, I just want to briefly note the very important privacy concerns about the final project. This project asks you to discuss your own and your household members' personal health and illness-related ideas, behaviors, and concerns, as well as the personal environments in which you live. However, you should not disclose or discuss any information that you want to keep private. So these projects are for my eyes only as your professor. They're not to be submitted in any public classroom areas, and they will not be used for any purpose other than to assess your mastery of the course material. So you control the information that you include here. So in stage 1, you're going to conduct a rapid ethnographic assessment of the production of health in your own household using each of the three theoretical perspectives that anthropologists use to better explain and understand health and illness-related phenomenon. So you really want to begin these observations early, as soon as the class begins. So project activities will include, and again, only information that you would feel comfortable discussing publicly, an inventory of health and illness-related projects in the household that includes prescription medications, over-the-counter medications, medical devices, any foods and supplements eaten for health reasons, books, or anything that you consider health or illness-related, a record of health-seeking behavior exhibited by household members, descriptions of at least one illness episode occurring in the household currently or during the previous 6 months, including information about the decisions that were made, who made the decisions, and so forth, and explanationary models of any illness episodes or chronic illnesses, a record of health, illness-related conversations with others, a list of resources that have an impact on your household's health and illness-related ideas or behaviors, and features of your community, state, national, or global environments that you think have a direct impact on your household's health and illness-related ideas and behaviors. So examples of these include, but aren't limited to, national health insurance, industrial pollution, infectious agents, toxic military exposure, etc. And this section is worth 30 points. In stage 2, you will use what you learned about in stage 1, as well as readings and discussions to create an intervention to address the issue in your household. So this intervention may promote wellness, prevent disease, it can educate household members, or it can be intended to cure or alleviate suffering in some way. So this exercise isn't for real unless you want it to be, and it can certainly be creative as you like. So for example, let's say somebody in your household suffers from chronic pain. Based on your learning about how information from people from different cultural worlds cope with chronic pain, you may want to design an intervention that incorporates heat and ice, pain medication, meditation, acupuncture, psychotherapy, and or shamanic healing. You also want to explain the details, theories about body, wellness, illness, and healing that underlie the intervention that you have chosen, as well as the features of the physical, political, social, and economic environment that will indicate or facilitate or perhaps impede the implementation of your intervention plan. So you want to try to also anticipate any unintended effects, either positive or negative, from this intervention. And this stage 2 section is worth a total of 30 points. So in stage 3, you're going to design a plan to evaluate the intervention that you've developed in stage 2. So this does not mean that you must actually implement your intervention, but you need to know what you want to accomplish and how you will know if you did. So your plan must include intervention activities, measurable outcomes, and a measurement model. So this stage 3 is worth a total of 30 points. So the remaining portion of our syllabus here outlines academic policy, academic integrity, the importance of being respectful to one another, the importance of classroom facility, as well as other policies and procedures. We also have grading information available for you here. So if you have any questions after you carefully review our syllabus as well as our class and assignment schedule, I encourage you to reach out to me. Best wishes in our course, and I look forward to working with you this semester. Have a great day.